We seriously need to talk about how airlines have been doing the most lately. Like, every other week, there's a new policy or extra fee being thrown at travelers. And honestly, some of these changes are just straight up annoying. From sneaky baggage rules to new boarding procedures that make zero sense, it's becoming harder to keep up. In this video, we're breaking down some of the biggest airline updates for summer 2025. What's changing, why it matters, and how it could affect your trip. But don't worry, we're also dropping a few travel hacks to help you avoid the mess. Let's jump right into it. Okay, so the first change is something you seriously do not want to mess with, especially if you're flying into Turkey. You can now be fined just for standing up before the seatbelt sign goes off. Yeah, that thing we all do the second the wheels hit the ground. It could cost you hundreds or even thousands of dollars now. Apparently, Turkish authorities are cracking down hard on this. Too many people have been popping out of their seats, grabbing their bags, and opening the overhead bins while the plane's still taxiing to the gate. And they've had enough, so now it's official. If you're on a flight entering Turkey and you stand up before the seatbelt sign turns off, flight attendants are required to report you. And this isn't just some empty threat. The Aviation Authority has made it mandatory for airlines to issue an in-flight warning about this rule, and they're enforcing it. They even said there's been a serious increase in complaints about people ignoring safety protocols during landing. Just to put it in perspective, this applies to all commercial flights heading into Turkey, including the massive IGA Istanbul Airport, which is one of the most connected airports in the world. That means millions of international travelers every year are now subject to this rule. So yeah, if you're flying into Turkey, don't rush. Sit tight, keep that seatbelt on, and wait for the sign. It might take an extra couple of minutes, but it could save you a lot of money and hassle. The next change is that there are now fewer flights into the US. A lot of people are definitely feeling the pain with this one. Bookings from Europe to the US are down 10% compared to last summer. And from Canada, it's even worse, with a 33% drop in bookings. And fewer people booking travel to the US means airlines are starting to pull the plug on certain routes. We're talking major carriers here: Lufthansa, British Airways, Air France, KLM, WestJet, and Air Canada, all scaling back their flights to the US. Instead, they're shifting focus to places like Canada, Mexico, Brazil, and the Caribbean, where demand is still strong. What does this mean for you? Well, fewer routes mean fewer flight options, higher fares, and a lot less flexibility, especially if you're trying to book a last-minute trip. And it's not just bad news for international travelers heading into the US. It also affects Americans coming home from their trips abroad. So yeah, if you're an American planning an international vacation this summer, just know that getting home might be a little trickier and a little more expensive than you expected. Definitely check flight schedules early and maybe have a backup plan just in case. Now, let's talk about the new power bank rule. So, ever since a fire broke out on a flight in South Korea earlier in 2025, and yes, it was caused by a power bank, airlines all over the world have been tightening their rules around using them in flight. Some Asian carriers have already gone as far as banning the use of power banks during flights entirely. Others now require them to be stored in your personal item under the seat, not in the overhead bin. And now, it looks like airlines in the US are starting to follow that same path. Southwest Airlines was the first to jump on this, and starting in May 2025, you can't use a power bank if it's stowed in the overhead bin. It has to be within reach and visible. So if something goes wrong, a crew member can act fast to prevent a serious incident. Bottom line, if you're flying with a power bank, and let's be real, most of us are, pack it in your personal item, not your carry-on suitcase, and definitely not your checked luggage. Those aren't just suggestions either. Most airlines ban powerbanks in checked bags altogether. And finally, always double-check your airline's specific policy before you fly, because more carriers are updating their rules, and not all of them are announcing it loud and clear. Okay, this next one is honestly shocking. And it might even sound unbelievable at first. Delta quietly rolled out something called a solo traveler surge charge on certain routes. Basically, if you're booking for just one person, your ticket could cost way more than if you were booking for 2 people. This first started as travel gossip or one of those Reddit rumors, but try it yourself and you'll see. Search for random Delta flights for solo and double flights and you'll see more than $100 difference sometimes. And no, this isn't a bulk discount or some kind of group rate. I tested it with 3, 4, and even 5 passengers, and the price per person stayed the same as the 2-passenger rate. This is clearly targeted. It's written right into Delta's fare rules for some of their cheaper basic economy options. Now, this isn't happening on every route, but it's been spotted on quite a few one-way domestic flights across the US. And from what it looks like, Delta is aiming this pricing strategy at business travelers, people who usually fly solo and book flights with company cards. The logic? They think business flyers are less price-sensitive than, say, families or couples. But here's the thing, a lot of leisure travelers fly solo too, and charging people extra just because they're not traveling with someone else? That's just unfair. Basically, Delta is experimenting with charging different customers different prices for the exact same seat, and solo travelers are getting the short end of the stick. After the backlash started, reports came out that United and American Airlines might be doing something similar. And the good news? It looks like Delta has already pulled this pricing trick off a bunch of domestic routes in the last week, probably because they got dragged online for it. But the fact that it even happened, not a great look. If you're enjoying this video, click the like and subscribe button. Also, turn on post notifications so you can be notified when we post new and exciting contents like this one. All right, buckle up, because this next one is major. Southwest Airlines, the airline that's been all about bags fly free and open seating for decades, is officially dropping some of the core things that made them different from everyone else. First up, after more than 50 years, Southwest is ending its bags fly free policy. Starting with flights booked on or after May 28, 2025, you'll now have to pay for checked bags. Your first checked bag will cost $35, and your second one, that'll be $45. Now, if you're a Chase Southwest cardholder, there's a little silver lining. Some of you will still get at least one bag checked for free. But for the rest of us, yeah, that freebie perk is going away. And that's not all. Southwest is also putting an end to their never-expiring travel credits. Yep, you heard that right. Starting on the exact same day, May 28, 2025, any flight credits or travel vouchers you get will now expire either 6 months or 1 year after they're issued, depending on the fare type you booked. This is a big deal because, until now, Southwest was one of the very few airlines where credits never expired. It was honestly one of the best things about flying with them. You could cancel a flight, stash the credit, and use it whenever, no stress. But the changes don't stop there. In 2026, Southwest is saying goodbye to open seating altogether. No more lining up in A, B, and C groups, hoping you get a decent seat or praying someone doesn't take the window before you board. Instead, they're switching to assigned seating, just like every other major airline. And yep, that means you'll be able to pay extra for more legroom or those preferred seats up front. So now, let's be real. Southwest is starting to look a lot more like every other airline. The unique, no-frills vibe they were known for, slowly fading. And in its place, the usual lineup of added fees, expiration dates, and upcharges. All right, another big change travelers need to know about comes from United Airlines, and this one could really mess with your trip if you're not paying attention. Starting June 3rd, 2025, United rolled out a strict new check-in policy for all domestic flights. From now on, passengers have to check in at least 45 minutes before their flight's scheduled departure, either online or in person at the airport. Here's where it gets intense. If you show up even 1 minute past that 45-minute cutoff to check in at the airport, you're out of luck. You won't be issued a boarding pass, and according to reports, not even the check-in agents can override the system. Like, seriously, they're locked out. So if you're the type who likes to roll into the airport at the last second, you might want to rethink that strategy. The good news? United still opens online check-in 24 hours before your flight takes off, so you've got plenty of time to handle it on the app or website before even stepping foot in the terminal. Moral of the story, check in early, set a reminder, and don't risk it. Because in 2025, the system isn't playing around. Okay, so this last change is a pretty big deal, especially if you're planning a trip to the UK anytime soon. As of January 8th, 2025, American and Canadian travelers, along with visitors from a bunch of other countries, will need to apply for something called an ETA, which stands for Electronic Travel Authorization, before flying to the United Kingdom. Now, technically, this is a UK government policy, not an airline one. But we're including it here because it will affect your airline experience. Why? Because your airline is now going to check if you have an approved ETA before they let you board your flight. If you don't have one, they might not even let you on the plane. That's because if you get denied at UK immigration, the airline is actually responsible for flying you back home. So yeah, they're not taking that risk. Here's how it works. The ETA costs £16, which is around $18 US, and you can apply online or through the official app. You'll need to provide some basic info, upload a passport-style photo, and in most cases, you'll get approved within a few days. Once you have it, the ETA is valid for multiple trips over 2 years, so it's not something you'll need to redo every single time you visit. If you don't want to download the app, no worries. There's also an option to apply directly through the UK government's website. And just so there's no confusion, this is not the same thing as the EU's upcoming ADIA system. That's the one that'll be required for visiting places like France, Italy, or Spain. That one's been delayed again and now won't roll out until late 2026 at the earliest. So for now, you only need to worry about the ETA if you're heading to the UK. So what do you think about this? Did we miss anything important? Let us know down in the comments section. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more videos like this. Thanks for watching.